Hello, future bestsellers. There's always that time, like after you push the button, but before you actually go live, where you're just kind of waving and not sure if you're actually talking. Exactly. So, hi guys. I'm so glad to see you guys today. I was just saying, we had talked last week about me maybe doing the live stream from the Novelist Inc. conference, which I'm going to today. And I was just sharing with Robert and Michelle, I had not finished packing. And so this morning I was like, and I was going to have to leave early. And then I thought, if I probably can't get into my hotel room, and I could do it out in the lobby, but is it rude to do a live stream from the lobby or the pool? Maybe. So anyway, so I decided, like, okay, I'm just going to not make myself crazy before I go to this thing. I'm just going to do the live stream from home and then take off afterwards. So yay, I'm glad you guys are here. Let's go around and do our intros as people are sort of starting to filter in. Hello, everybody. Story Detective, tell us a little about you and your awesome channel.
My awesome channel is The Story Detective. And I take various forms of storytelling and put it under that famous Sherlockian microscope and break down the craft so that the viewer's journey may be a little easier. It also helps me to go over these things and to keep learning stuff. So more videos are en route. And today I'm going to be editing my manuscript. So this stream should be great for that.
Yay! Yay! You too. I know. Let's talk about you. I've taken like a week and a half where it's just been I literally have not written in over a week. Just a lot of kind of crazy stuff happening at home. And I'm pretty sure, though, in that week and a half that you have written and completed another book. Is this true, Michelle? It feels true from the updates.
A very 35,000 word middle grade novel, but yes, I did draft that sucker fast.
It was fast. And that makes total sense, like given your, sort of average word count speed, writing speed, it does make sense that you literally could draft a book in a week and a half or 2 weeks stop. But it was like I'm like, I need to take a little bit of time to kind of deal with this thing. And then Michelle's like, another book done. So thank you for keeping me inspired for the entire week. I'll just jump right back in. You have a fantastic writing channel, and many of our friends are big fans. So tell us what you're working on this week.
I am working on revising my mystery novel, the one that I finished last month. And I've actually been using the shorts, the Write Club shorts, to kind of document that, since I'm out of draft one now, because I am drafting, but it's on client stuff, and that's not as interesting to share about, I don't think.
Right.
Yeah. Also, thank you for sharing that link that Lisa just shared. Thank you, Lisa. I didn't even tell you what it was yet.
I know when you sent it to me, so I figured it was important.
Later today at 3 p.m. Central Time, I'm going to be on the Ye Old Grimoires YouTube channel for a Q&A for half an hour. They're a British fantasy subscription box for writers. Like if you're a fantasy writer and you like subscription boxes, they will send you a box of fantasy writing related goodies every month. And they do Q&As with authors, so I'm going to be on there later today if anybody wants to stop by.
Yay, fantastic. That is totally awesome. All right, you guys, let's say hi to everybody in the chat. JC says, could I have made it in first? Yes, you could. Congratulations, JC. If you guys are wondering where Caro is today, she has a very, very full plate, and she's going to take a couple weeks off, and then she'll be back with us. Claude is here. Hello, Claude. We're very, very glad to see you today. Devin's here. Hello, Devin. Glad to see you. I don't know how to say this name.
Deja?
Deja? Will you give us a phonetic pronunciation? We are super glad you're here, and we do not want to say your name wrong for the next 2 hours. So I bet it's Deja. I really like that spelling, though. Oh, look. And her, his, they, I'm not quite sure. It looks really beautiful, but do you see that little avatar? It's small on my screen. That's really pretty. So
Okay.
very nice. Love that. All right. Hello, Theo. We're very glad to see you today. Morgan's here. Oh, Claude's got a question. You always can, Claude. You know that. When do you know adding a new project while writing another is not disguised procrastination and may be good for the process and for changing moods?
That's such a good question.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to come up with like a concrete answer, at least for me.
Oh, same. Yeah. Sometimes it's good to switch projects because for whatever reason, there's some problem you're not solving and you kind of run out of juice. And I think too, you kind of have to know yourself as a writer because I will never be a writer that has 15 manuscripts in the drawer ever, because to me, like that equates to money. And so I think I have to finish it and get it out into the world.
Right.
But certainly there are times, but I have one right now, like where I tried my pandemic book where it was a comedy and I just couldn't make it funny. It was a non-funny romantic comedy. And I love the idea. And I beat my head up against the wall on that one for like a year and a half. And finally I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do this other thing. This book does not have to be written first. And I will come back to it when I'm ready to. So
I think I can add a little bit to this, since I'm somebody that does have several manuscripts sitting in the drawer or on my Word file because self-publishing required that, and I was trying to get ahead. And after drafting so much and then coming back to editing with the pandemic and running into problems, it's almost physically painful to try to overcome those problems and get back into the draft I'm working on. So there's always another one out there, and you have to sometimes make a conscious choice. Do I really need that other manuscript? Is it really going to free me up, or is it just going to waste my time? Do I need to get busy and working on problems? And that's what I've been doing the last couple of weeks, solving my problems so I can move forward. And I'm glad to say that I did. I figured out a character, and I did backtrack a little bit. There was only a handful of scenes where this character appeared. I went and I rewrote them to get a feel for the character, and I'm currently caught up to where I was before and can move forward at this point. So sometimes you need to get back to squares and really make it a game and kind of find an interest in what you're doing again.
That is true. That is very true. And there are a number of authors that talk about sort of gamifying your process, which I think we had talked about this before on a stream. And I think Michelle mentioned Chris Fox is one for sure. Yeah. I think there's something to that. Although I will say, if I have an idea that really inspires me, where I will often write, like I won't work on it like I would a normal book, but if I have that sort of initial spurt of creative energy, I will often write, like the first scene or a couple scenes, like just to sort of get it out of my system. And the other thing is I always feel like when I come back to it after I finish whatever I'm working on, then I'll have like a good place to start and I won't be looking at that blank page.
Yeah.
So I've definitely done that. Or sometimes it's just a scene where you're not quite sure like where it goes yet, but you want to sort of capture that essence. But yeah, it really depends on how disciplined you are. Like, is it, you don't want to keep starting projects and never finishing them because, right? We want to finish those books and get them out into the world. But you also don't want to, shoot down your inspiration, right? So how do you balance that? For me, I'll write a little bit and sort of save it and come back to it next. But
I think CO had a good adjunct to this answer when she said about Michelle's video and Kate Kavanaugh's video about overcoming toxic productivity. We were all trying to blast forward with the pandemic and keep ourselves busy, and then we get on the other side of that and we're all burnt out. And now we're like, now we have to rethink our process because we were just driving ourselves into the ground.
Yeah.
Or we have chronic issues and the stress of life exacerbated them.
Yeah.
Made them worse.
I can see your awesome comment, CO Savvy. I cannot make StreamYard show it. Hold on, let's see. Oh, I can't show anybody's comments right now. Let's see if I can get that. Here. No, it's not letting me do any. Okay. We are going to do this. We're going to stop for a minute and do our 5-minute warm up, because this live stream is going to be a lot less interesting if we could just have the one question up. So I'm going to go ahead and get us started with a 5-minute warm up sprint.
She's gone.
Oh no.
There we go. What just happened? Did I freeze?
Weird.
You blanked out.
All right, here we go. Hold on. Okay, so here's this. I don't know what's going on. Like with StreamYard, it's like really wonky right now. Okay, here we go. All right, everybody, we're doing a 5-minute warm-up sprint to start. And when we come back, hopefully I will have repaired StreamYard and you can tell us what you're working on today, because I'm dying to know. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, sprint.
Right. All right. So I sound a lot better now, don't I? Mike, my Mike was way over there, and the horror geek was like, "Are you sound like you sound like you're coming live from the restroom?" So yeah, because my mic was like way over there. That's much better. Okay. All right, you guys. So so you so CO Savvy noticed. My big plan was like, oh, I'll just hit refresh. I'll put the timer on, and if I drop out, it'll be okay because then I can pop back up. But no, that is not the case. So I did fix it, even though I was out of here for for a second. So sorry about that. And then it also took my mute off. So the first sound everybody hears as I come back is me snort laughing, which is so ladylike. So yeah, so there's that. So that's very, yeah. All right, you guys. So I'm going to go back up to CO's comment. So she said, great video on toxic productivity, JC. Yours, Michelle Schusterman's, and Kate Kavanaugh's had so much food for thought, and thanks for being so real. All right, I'm going to add that to my list. I don't think I got a notification for that, but I bet it's awesome.
I just watched Kate's video a day or two ago. She, I guess, suffered from migraines at one point, and all the stress and trying to push forward made her migraines return. And I guess she can only look at the screen and write for about an hour or so a day before migraines come on. So we're all trying to relearn our process and get beyond the crazy productive measures that were listed by our own egos or our YouTube, AuthorTube, whatever it is, that said you can write 10,000 words in a weekend.
Yeah.
Go for it.
You can, but you're depleted afterwards, I think. And I definitely know there are some people who can knock that out every day. I can't. I tend to go through like high productivity and then, have kind of a dip. So, all right, let's say hi to some folks. All right. Ray's here. Hi, This Radiant Life is here. Hello, we're glad to see you. Deja. Is that how you guys would read that?
Yes.
Deja. Love it. Thank you so much. We're very glad you're here, and thank you for the pronunciation. JC says thank you. I'll have to definitely go check out JC's video about that. Mary's checking in at campus. Want to drop a like. Oh, thank you. And hang out as long as you can. JC, JC, you're working on them. All right, right. It's okay. It's okay to have 6 ideas. It's like just don't have like 6 that are like 70% of the way through. Pick one and finish it.
Yeah,
Anyone.
I'm there with you, JC. So don't worry.
RC is here. Very nice. Thank you. We're so glad you're here today, RC. Would not be the same without you. Shannon's here. Hello. So glad to see you guys today. All right. So Mary says, my problem lately has been reconnecting with my writing period. I basically have one big project broken down into a bunch of smaller ones. When I'm stuck at one place, I'll jump to another. So does that, I'm a really chronological writer. Like sometimes if I feel something for some scene or something I want to get down, I'll go forward and read it and write it. But generally I work pretty chronologically and according to my, sort of outline. And so I'm curious about you guys. What do you do? Do you skip around in a project? If you break it down into smaller parts?
That's so weird. That's exactly what my short was about this morning.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like right now as I'm revising, I'm reading the fucking manuscript and it's large and it's very intimidating to sit down to every day because it's like this, I see it as this mountain of papers. And so what I talked about is like I literally took Post-it notes and split the book into 4 parts. And I'm just thinking of it as, okay, part 1.
Right.
And then breaking that and down into smaller steps too. And like, here's how we're going to do that. So I can just see like a task for today I can get done.
Right.
It's like, I know we all know we're not going to revise a book in one day. And yet when I sit down to do it, that's like what's in my head.
It feels like, yeah.
So you have to, break it down for sure.
That's true.
I think it's the Stephen King methodology that says if you reread your manuscript, you should try to do it all in one sitting. And sometimes that's possible. And a lot of times it's not.
Yeah, I think reading it in one sitting is probably a great idea. but I'm doing it. I'm like creating a synopsis of like the actual order of events in the book with no mystery, red herrings,
Mhm.
like the way I described it as, you know, at the end of the book when the detective comes out and explains to everybody exactly what happened. That's what I'm trying to write. Like, here is actually what happened, just so I can keep it straight in my head. And so as I'm going through scene by scene, I'm taking notes like, this is what this character saw, but here's what it actually meant. You know, things like
Right.
so it's
Right.
gonna be slower.
Mysteries have that extra element of challenge, I think, for that reason, right? Because
Yeah.
it has to make sense.
Yeah.
It has to make sense all the way through, and you can't have like these sort of dangling plot. Like you really can't, because mystery writers or mystery readers are always really paying attention to, like, does this matter? Because they're trying to figure it out.
Exactly.
Right. And so you can't have a lot of you definitely want misdirection, but you can't have stuff that's in there that goes nowhere because it ticks them off.
Yes. Mystery readers are too clever now.
Oh, they're so clever. They're so clever. Yeah, totally. I totally agree with that. Becca C. Smith is here. Hello, Becca. We are very, very glad to see you today. Very nice. Claude says, thanks so much thanks a lot for those great answers. I think I'll try to start a new project a bit less bleak because I'm not in the mood for that one at the moment. I love that. So I was working on that rom-com, the non-funny rom-com during the pandemic, and I was really struggling. And so I thought, okay, well, I'm just going to start working, I'm going to start plotting out my hockey romance, which I had just intended to be a contemporary romance, not a rom-com. But you know what? It's funny. Because once I took the pressure off of like, oh, this one doesn't have to be funny, then funny stuff just bubbled up.
Sure.
So yeah, you know how that goes. But yes, Gremlins. These are all for me disappearing. Yeah, there we go. And yes, CO, absolutely the truth. Today, Shannon is editing her romantic fantasy novel, A Curse of Scales and Feathers. Very nice. Amy's here. Hello. We are super glad to see you today. Devin's working on an outline, slow process as my heart is not in it right now, but I have wonderful motivators today as I've been looking for today. Oh, thank you so much. You've got this, Devin. You've got it. All right. Violet got 86 words for the first sprint. That is fantastic. Bless you. Wait a minute. JC, 6 completed manuscripts. Is that true? Let's get those bad boys out into the world, or bad girls.
JC, come on.
I know, right? What is, and JC is on board with me chronologically. What about you guys? I want to know in the chat. Oh, you guys have already answered. Boy, I love you guys. Okay, so in the chat, if you haven't already, let us know if you can skip around or you need to write chronologically. Robert, how about you?
I've done both. I prefer to be chronological just because that's the way I think, but I have, in revising, tried to skip around a bit. Like I just did. If one character is not making sense, I'll go through scene by scene of that character, figure out their voice so I don't lose it because I'm skipping, to the next character. Things like that. I also think that what we were talking about before and what you were talking about, Lisa, before the stream started, is when you're having all this problems with toxic creativity, moving too fast, moving too slow. It's getting back to squares a little bit in what you said, finding the joy in writing. What brought you to this? Because we all come here for the joy of writing. Did you really enjoy learning about craft before you got on AuthorTube? And then people said, you don't need to learn that. It's all a bunch of bullshit. And then you said, oh my gosh, what am I doing here? Did you decide that, you were going to write every day and suddenly you're making YouTube videos every day instead? There's all these things that the internet has influenced you to do. But what is your bliss? What were the basics of why you came here? What do you enjoy? Get back to that, and you'll probably find yourself again.
Yeah, I think there's some truth to that. So when we go through, after we finish talking about skipping around, we're going to do a sprint. And then when we come back, I want to talk more about that idea of like what makes you feel really joyful to be a writer, or what reminds you of why you love to be a writer. All right. So Michelle, chronological, not chronological?
It really depends on the project. Like, I mean, for the mystery novel, I can see myself, once I actually get into the document and start making changes, actually doing the end first, working backwards. And I think that's another thing that is like kind of maybe mystery specific.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, because you just want to make sure you know where all your ducks end up. Like what
I can totally see that. Or right, and even if you're doing sort of a like zero draft kind of situation where your dialogue's not perfect or anything like that, but you're just trying to kind of get the basics down on paper so you know how that mystery is going to play out. I can totally see that. Morgan, right? Totally. CEO says I had to get real with my projects, organize my mini writing ideas that I will never write into an idea bank with character, plot, and setting ideas so I can recycle into new stories. I love that. I love that. Shannon says the first 3 books in my series happen at the same time. I'm writing the first book now. I'm constantly taking notes for the other 2, especially where the stories overlap. Very smart. RC's going over the edits for his second release. First one is with beta readers. Yes, I'm doing that now. Yay! RC, we're super proud of you. Lisa says, funny romance, How to Win a Man with a Snort Laugh. Don't knock it, baby. It works. All right, so, okay, so yes, congrats to RC for the progress. We are super proud of you. RC says RC's only written stories in chronological order. Debbie's on board with that. Violet says, I have to write chronologically, though time to time I'll write snippets of scenes that I think of and want to try to include. I think that's probably the best description of how I do it. Okay, I'm dying to talk about this with JC. What happens is I finish a book and then shiny new idea and I'm on to the next one. And 6 manuscripts later, I realize I have to start editing these bad boys. Does it feel overwhelming that it's 6, or could you just like pick your favorite and progress that one? I wonder. What do you think, JC? Shannon says, OMG, I don't JC, I don't like editing. I can't imagine having 6 manuscripts hanging over my head waiting for edits. Don't put it that way. Not hanging over your head. These are 6 books they're on deck. They are ready to go out into the world and earn you some fans and make you some money. Those books are dying to be out in the world. Let's let them free. Okay. So very nice. All right, good job. JC says it's daunting. I regret letting them sit for so long, but I can't draft more than 1 book at a time, so the new ideas hit and I have to get them out. Oh, all right. So JC says, I am trying to change that mindset now. I'm working on draft 2 of one of those manuscripts now. All right. Well, that's good. All right. Very nice. You can do it. We're glad. BB's here. Hi, I'm new in the writing community, pretty young and aspiring to learn more. Hi, BB. We're very glad you're here. Literally, your channel has helped me, especially when I was trying to write romance lately. Oh, thank you so much. Well, if you have any questions, we are really very, very happy to answer at any time. All right, you guys, I'm going to stop right now. We're going to do our first 20-minute sprint. I don't have Caro here to nag me. It's already 11:30. All right. All right, hold on. We're going to do our first 20-minute sprint. And when we come back, we're going to answer questions. And we are also going to talk about like what are the things that make you feel like being an author or being a writer is like the coolest gig ever, and what things remind you why you love it. All right, here we go. Let's get this rolling. Da-da. Okay, making it big. All right, here we go, everybody. You've got this. Get your little fingers warmed up and your big giant water bottles ready. Look at me. I'm so far behind. I'm on 7 a.m. All right. So I'm going to suck down a half a gallon of water and I'm going to write some words. All right, here we go, everybody. In 3, 2, 1, sprint. All right. There we go. That went really fast for me. How about you guys?
Yeah. It
All
was
right.
pretty quick. I got quite a bit done, though. I think I'm moving in the right direction here.
That's good. That's very good. How about you, Michelle? How'd you do? Oh, hold on. You're muted.
Oh.
There we go. Okay, go
Thank
ahead.
you. That was really good. I'm almost to the through the first part. I split my book into 4 parts, and I'm like 1 chapter away.
Yay. Okay, fantastic. That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, I'm super glad to hear that. All right, you guys, how did you do on the last sprint? Let us know. And we were talking about, we had some questions we were going to answer, and we were going to talk about the things that bring you, like, that make you feel like this is the coolest gig in the entire universe, or make you feel joy to be an author. So, do you want to start? I mean, we have to say, like, seeing your book in the bookstore, like, for me, is always magical.
Oh, yeah.
I never get over that feeling.
Yes.
Like, never.
No.
And on the like, and you guys should know, like, to be in the window of like a Barnes and Noble generally means like you're a really big book. That used to be space that you could only pay for, and like, not you, but your publisher, and it was many thousands of dollars. But occasionally, if you're doing an event, they'll do a nice window of your book, and like to go like walk up to a bookstore not expecting that and see like a mountain of your books. This like right, it's like, this is what I thought it was going to be like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah.
Love that. Or right, when you get a box of books, right? Like when the first time you see your book in paperback or hardcover, whatever it is. So, and this is true whether you're traditionally published or indie published, that like when you first see the book in its like physical form, there's something, right? There's something really magical about that.
Definitely is. Yeah.
All right. How about you, Story Detective? What do you think?
Well, I think yes. Those first moments of seeing your name in print do stick in your mind. And there's moments where everything is as you've always imagined it. And those are great moments. I think before that, though, the getting there is just the love of creating. I think coming to writing after art, it was a deeper well. It does the same thing as my art always did, but I think I learned more about myself because you're creating so many characters and different worlds, and it's kind of introspective. And I think that just putting it together, making it work on the page, that reflection that reflects back at you, all of that, I think, is primary to what lured me into that. It's just,
Right.
Yeah.
How about you, Michelle?
All of that, yes. Something that I've been trying to get better at is making sure that like I'm not entirely waiting for kind of that external validation.
Right. Yeah.
See it on the shelves, but that's not always going to happen.
No.
I want to like I need to just like consciously make myself acknowledge something and feel pride because of my own thoughts about it,
Yeah.
So like, even honestly printing out a book and holding it and being like,
right.
came out of my brain.
And now it's this thick.
Yeah. And taking just like tell myself I'm proud of myself and feel the pride, more moments like that. Cause that was something I spent way too many years in the earlier parts of my career needing it from everybody but myself. Editors, reviewers, readers, whoever. And that's all great. And I still appreciate all of that, but like it has to come from you too.
It really does. And I think that there's probably a correlation between authors who are able to get that internal motivation and longevity, because if you are just constantly needing that feedback from your fans and the press and your editor, that sometimes you're not going to get, in traditional publishing, especially, a lot of times you are not going to get that.
You're going to feel the opposite of that.
You're going to feel the opposite. You're going to feel like the only good author is a dead author. And right. They say that, right. You're going to feel that energy sometimes from them, or sometimes they'll just say something where you're like, what? But like those moments where you're like, I will tell you, one of my favorite things that happens is like, I always kind of know I'm on a roll, is like, if I laugh at what I'm writing, if I'm writing a scene and I'm laughing as I'm writing it, then I know, like, okay, at least one, like, I would think this is funny, and I know my mother will think it's funny. So there's like, at least there's two of us, but there's something like joyful about reading that, about writing something that, like, where you're having that emotion, or where you start tearing up when you're writing. Do you ever do that? Is it just me?
Oh, sometimes. Or rereading what you're writing. I know that sounds kind of obnoxious.
No. Yeah, it's great. It's good. Right. And when you get sucked into the story, like you haven't read it in a long time, and then you end up like getting sucked back into the story of something you wrote for a long time ago. And it feels like it's now something that's it's part of you, but it's also apart from you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I think the talk earlier about toxic productivity as well, it's, if you're the kind of person, and I think most of us can put ourselves in this category, where you set goals and you hit goals, you're good at achieving your goals, but you never take even a minute to like acknowledge that you did that. Right. And it's like, okay, well, I finished this, so now what's the next thing I have to do? And you just don't ever take a beat. Then you wonder why you run out of motivation, because you're not giving it to yourself.
Right, because you're output, no input. Yeah.
I also think that there's been a weird reversal in terms of the internet. The early days of the internet, when I was trying to figure out writing and the craft and how to put together a novel, when I was working on comic books and wanted to shift my gears, finding a guy like Saul Stein with all that information was like, whoa. Now we have people, and there's good people like Lisa, like Michelle, who will tell you where you're going and give you tips. And now it's almost like everybody who's putting out a book doesn't come here because they don't want to expose the fact that they don't know quite what they're doing, which none of us entirely do within our lifetime.
Right? Let us say we all don't know what we're doing, especially when we start. And frequently, many times throughout your career, you will feel like, I feel like that every time I start a book. Like, how did I produce these other books? But then I go like, wait, I know how to do this. I can do it.
Yeah. Now there's almost a stigma, though, about asking questions and finding out information, because you present an image and you don't want to tarnish that image or fall off your pedestal or your little group bubble. I don't know what it is, but now we're the reverse of that, where you used to have to really struggle to find information, and now you don't.
Yeah.
But now people are like, information may not be good for me.
Yeah, I totally get that people feel that way. I know a lot of people that feel that way. I don't know if it's because, like, when I first started on television, I would often have opportunities to like have my picture taken with somebody kind of cool, but I was like being cool about it. Like, oh, I'm on TV every week. Like, it's no big deal if I meet so-and-so. And then later I would think, I wish I had done the cheesy thing for 2 seconds and taken the picture, because that stuff is fun to remember. And over the course of like 15 years, I don't remember all the people that I met. And so at some point early on, I was like, I don't care if I'm embarrassed for 2 seconds. I'm just going to do it. And like, and that it's opened up a ton of crazy opportunities for me to just be like, I don't care if I look like an idiot. But also, things are always changing in book world. Nobody has the answers to everything. You might be really good in one sort of silo of something, but not as much in the other. And honestly, I think it's a sign of strength and power that you have connections who can help you to do things more efficiently or better, or give you information you don't have, than to, like, you don't have to figure out every little bit of this on your own. And the older I get, the more I think like, when I can't, I'm like, oh, I can't figure this out. I don't think like I'm stupid or I'm not going to get it or whatever. I just think like, who do I know who knows how to do this? Or who do
When
I
you're
know
also
who can at least get me to the next level, right?
yeah, when you're in the midst of that, it's like there's big ego, sure, but you kind of come under the heading of everybody is doing it. They're just another person. You don't
Right.
think, wow, what advice can this person give me? I did with a lot of writers, but there's a lot of opportunities that I missed too. When I was working at DC Comics, for example, Neil Gaiman was just another guy writing comics. He was no different or better than the rest of us. You don't think, I'm going to talk
And
to this
now
guy.
he's a god.
Yeah. Yes,
And now he's a god.
exactly.
Right.
He was doing something right, and we all should have been paying attention.
Yeah. Yeah. It is hard to pay attention to all the people who are doing
Yeah.
things right. Renee has a great question. How do you balance multiple projects? I have answers for this, but I feel like I want to go to Michelle, who I feel like balances more. Michelle also feels like that.
I'm laughing because sometimes I feel like I'm not balancing. I feel like I'm trying to balance and dropping everything everywhere.
Mhm.
Really, it's just one, setting really realistic deadlines, which is something I'm constantly relearning, like giving myself a whole lot of wiggle room every time I take on a new project. Like if I think to myself, I'm looking at a calendar and I think, oh, November 1st would be a good deadline. Really, that means I need to make it November 15th or even later. Like I always think I can do it faster than I actually am able to,
Yeah.
So that's thing number one. And thing number two is I really, really try with books specifically. This doesn't always work out, but I try to keep it so that I'm in a different stage of the process with each of them. So like right now I'm revising my book and I'm drafting a client book and I'm outlining another client book. And that's ideal for me because it's like giving myself a break, not just from one project to the next, but from one stage, which
Right.
is a different kind of creative energy. Like when I have one day where I'm working on this, then I can take a break from both revising and this particular book and work on this story and drafting this day. And, so
Right.
keeping it in different stages. I have done the whole drafting 4 books at one thing, and I will never do it again if I can help it. It's terrible.
Yeah, that's rough. For me, I try to avoid code switching, so I'll block big blocks of time. So instead of trying to like write for an hour, edit for an hour, and what was the other thing? Draft for an hour. I would put bigger chunks so that I'm doing the brain work first thing in the morning and try and do things later in the afternoon that require less brain activity. Right. But also I like to give big chunks of time because if I stop every hour, like I really, it sort of takes me a while to kind of get into the groove. So so I try to like figure out ways that I can kind of block off good points of time and avoid interruptions. Anybody else have some advice on that? Let me see if we've got. Michelle's really calling me out here. All right. Let's go down and I want to talk about joy, but I also want to get the questions, and I feel like I'm so far behind. So let me just pop through here and try and get all this stuff. All right. So I love this comment from CO. She says, "I love editing. It's like having a cluttered desk that needs organizing." I really like that.
I feel about revising. I love it.
Christy entered her murder mystery to a regional competition, didn't win, but got positive remarks and suggestions, which she's implementing.
Yeah.
Glad I took a chance, and we'll have a better book for it. Yes, absolutely.
I'm just curious if she wants to share. I'm curious what the competition is.
I know, right? Okay, let's do it.
Never think to do is entering contests and competitions and stuff like that.
Yeah, it really
cool.
Yeah, it really is cool. And there are tons. If you've got a mystery, there are so many competitions, and like they really have so many. And a lot of times they have a lot of times you can do unfinished books or unpublished manuscripts and things like that as well. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you very much. Everybody's very happy to see BB's here. Yay. All right. So, oh, thank you so much. You're so sweet. Bella, oh. Okay, you guys are awesome. All right. So, last sprint, Shannon got 259. Woohoo. Violet got 297. Woo, that's awesome. Debbie made breakfast. Yay. Victoria's here. Hello, Victoria. We're very, very glad to see you. All right. So Shannon says, being an author is a byproduct of my love for writing. I love that I can spend my days writing, but it's great to earn income from it. Yes. Yes. I have no illusions that I'll ever be a bestseller or make $1 million. If that happens, great. I'm just happy to get lost in my written words, I think is what that says. Very nice. Oh, Amy says for SEO and marketing, it's the first time you see organic numbers spike. It's a thrill. Love that. Devin said, when I first started writing, I just wanted to see my book in the store, but now just the idea of getting it out into the real world and somewhere you created, get away from your troubles for just a little bit. Love that. CO says, not published yet, but I know seeing my name in print and holding it will feel surreal. It does. And you know what? That never gets old. It never, ever gets old. And I do look forward to fan meets. Oh, that's the best. That's the best. I had Michelle. I bet you've been through this. So I only did one. I've done one middle grade book, and somebody did a book report on my book, and they sent it to me, and it was like I was like, this is the greatest. I literally still have it saved on my computer. I was like, so yeah.
Letters from readers are always great, but letters from kids are like especially the best.
That is, yeah, absolutely, absolutely amazing. All right, you guys, I love this. Okay, so let's go ahead and do another sprint. Let's get us all set up for that. Dun, dun, dun.
And I have a question of getting back to basics and joy
Ooh.
that I could use an opinion on when we get back. So this is kind of interesting in terms of the making money versus doing it just for fun.
Yeah. Why can't we do both? Okay, you guys, we're going to talk about that. Yeah, this is funny because the conference that I'm going to is Novelists Inc. And those people are all about like, yep, we're doing it for the love, but we're also doing it for the money. And I really love that business focus of it. Okay. Here we go. We're going to take 20 minutes. We're going to write like the wind or get our projects done. And here we go. Starting in 3, 2, 1, sprint. Okay, here we go. Very nice. I was like totally into it. Did not even see the timer coming until like the little beep 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 was in my ear. So
Yeah, the joys of writing might be infecting us.
I know, right? I will say the thing that made me like think about this, the things that in writing that bring us joy is the fact that I'm going to this conference today, and I love writing conferences. I love to learn things. I love to hang out with other writers. I love to hear about new books that are coming. So they are like some of my favorite things to do. And I'm still pretty much a homebody. Like we're just not back to like regular life post pandemic kind of thing. We're still, mostly hanging around the house. So I'm excited about like just being with human writer. So I'm very excited about that. So
Yeah, we're
yeah.
all adjusting.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. All right, so Shannon got 160 words added in editing. Whoop, whoop. Very, very nice. Eva's here. Hello, we're super glad to see you. Caro's here. We definitely are missing you today, but we totally get that you've got like a ton on your plate right now. So anyway,
Yeah.
thank you very much. You're super sweet. JC says, I'm with Lisa. I want to do it for love, but yeah, I would also like it to support me as well financially. Yes, that, right?
Yeah.
And yeah.
There's that question. And I've been writing for the fun of it and also recovering kind of from, my own accident and physical limitations and also being divorced from my comic book career. So
Yeah.
now that I'm pushing forward again with my writing, this situation comes up. There's a couple of comic book guys who have a one-shot story that they want me to ink. Now, it might be an interesting idea and a paycheck, but if they don't get this one company to pick it up, they just plan on finishing it anyway and putting it out like free to people who want it. So, am I working for free and taking a couple of months of my life to occupy myself with this project? Or am I getting back to it and relinking my past that I'm divorced from to the present and using that as part of the healing to move forward? So that's the dilemma that I'm currently trying to decide for myself.
It's hard. It's hard when we have those things like where you have one foot in one world and one foot in another world. And I think sometimes that can, I don't know, sometimes it's nice to go back and visit your old world. Sometimes it's inspiring, or sometimes it's just an experience to remind you why you left it in the first
Yeah,
place.
sometimes you're just like, oh no, why did I do this?
Right, exactly. But also I think sometimes it can like keep you from fully, going into to what you really want to do. Like
Mhm.
keeping one kind of toe dipped in one world can sort of prevent you from moving forward in the other. I don't know. Does anybody else feel like that? B. Okay. So JC, so JC says, I'm with Lisa. I want to do it for love, but would also like to support me financially. I feel like I just read that and didn't take it down and forgot. Okay. So so there's that. So all that. All right, let's see what we've got here. Eva says, I'm okay with writing for funsies, but I probably not want to publish anything without having monetary goals. Yes, exactly. Eva wants to know which way you're leaning, Robert.
I'm not sure. He only, he talked about this a couple of times of collaborating on something, and I thought it was just like, I said, I don't want any big projects. Working on a piece of art here and there could be fun. And he said, that's all I'm talking about. But then he comes up with this project and
Which
talks
is
about
not
those
here
things.
and there, right?
So this just came about, and I've been thinking about it since yesterday afternoon when he sent me this script. He said, read it over. Do you want to do this?
Well,
Are you interested? I said, well, I will think about it.
Does it have to be all or nothing for you? Because like they've got the script done. Couldn't they sell it with a page or a couple, like with some panels, but not the entire book to this publisher?
See, I don't know exactly how far along they are in contacting people. I have a lot of questions about what they're doing on their end. There's a lot of people, and I guess these guys have done their own comics and had them crowdfunded, and they're putting out their own stuff. So this is sort of like a joyful project for them that they've wanted to do, and they want to see it published. And if they're willing to work for free to put it out as a fan story, if it doesn't get picked up, I guess that's on them. Do I want to take a couple of months out of my life?
Right.
Not that I won't be writing and working on other things in the meantime, but that's still going to be a large primary chunk of my day working on this thing.
Right. I think it's Lila. If I'm saying your name wrong and it's Lila, please let me know. Lila says, as an art agent, I can tell you that it would be beneficial perhaps to do just a few sample pages that the authors can include in the pitch. And if it's picked up, then you can negotiate terms.
Yeah.
Right. All right.
That would
Very nice.
make sense.
Yeah, thank you, Lila. We appreciate it. You never know who you're going to find in the comments today. So we are super, super glad you are here. Eva says that's a big ask. If you're not passionate about it, definitely take the time to consider all the pros and cons.
Yeah.
Devin is getting close to the end of the outline. Yay. Make sure I have everything looking good and changing things if need be. All right, you guys, we have time for one more sprint. Yay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm feeling it today. I think because I have all this like energy. I'm all excited. I'm such a nerd. All right. I'm a total conference nerd. I will totally admit that. All right. You guys, last sprint of the day. Let's make this one count. I think like we had a really good discussion today. I'm super excited. All right, you guys, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Make it count. All right, we are back. So, how'd you do on that last one?
Good. Got through another couple chapters. They're short.
Yay, fantastic. That's awesome. How about you, Robert? How'd you do?
Almost finished with this scene, so that's pretty good.
That's very good. I did not get anything done in the last sprint because I was looking on the conference app, planning my day. So I'm such a nerd. Sorry.
Also,
Look who's here. Hello, Vixen and Fiction. We are very, very glad to see you. BookTube Goddess is here. We're very sorry you didn't make it, but hopefully we'll see you all next week. Thank you very much. Devin. Did it come? There we go. I can say I'm finished. I'm trying something new, trying my hand at a novella series. If it doesn't work, I'll just put it all together and make it a short novel. On to the next book outline. Yay. And Heather's here. Ta-da. Hello. We're very glad to see you today. CO says, Robert, any Woodstock this year?
Yes, I've actually been thinking about it since the channel is just getting back up and running. There's a couple of things I want to establish, but with NaNoWriMo and the holiday season coming up, I figured once I get established, it would be more of a winter thing when we don't have a lot of things going on after Christmas.
Good idea.
Yeah, I can see that. And it was a lot. I know it was a lot of work for you to organize all that, but they were so good. So good.
Well, I'm going to simplify it. And if I start it up again, it's going to be more sporadic, not like an every month thing, because that kept us occupied during the pandemic. And it was a lot of work and helped to add to the burnout factor that I was experiencing ultimately. But we'll have them probably, every now and then. But the next one, I think, in my head is going to happen during the winter.
All right. I'm looking forward to that. Shannon, 223. Very, very nice. Violet got 254. Whoop, whoop. That's fantastic. Very nice. Vixen spent the last hour helping kiddo with school. Totally get that. And a little high back and forth. So we love that. All right, you guys. It's 1 o'clock. We're going to finish on time. What? It's a shocker. It's a shocker. So let's go around and do our little outros. Thank you all so much for being here, everybody here on the screen and here in the chat. You just make it fun. You know I love you guys. All right. So before we leave, let's do a little quickie. Michelle, do you want to do your outro? And then we will hit it the other way.
All right. I'm Michelle Schusterman. My YouTube channel is Writing Workshops, Traditional Publishing Chat, and Writing Blogs. And yeah, thanks, Lisa.
Thank you so much for being here. And CO, thank you for saying this. That makes my heart feel good. Rob, did you see it, Robert? I saw you just looking.
Yeah, I saw.
Okay. That was very sweet.
We should definitely figure something out, but we'll get there. We're in the process of all reinventing what we do with our streams and channels, I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, Robert, tell us a little about you before we head out.
Well, my channel, The Story Detective, is up and running, though there are some gaps. It's going to be regular videos every week. I do have videos planned and scripted, and I have other ones that I'm planning for deeper dives than probably they were before, multi-part kind of scenarios where we put storycraft under the Sherlockian microscope and break it down and hopefully give the viewers something that they can use for their own journey. And that's the plan as ever moving forward.
Excellent. I love that. I am heading out to my conference. You guys probably already know, but maybe not. I write romantic comedies and nonfiction, and I'm super excited to go to my little conference today. Thank you guys all so much for being here. We love you, and we will see you next Wednesday. All right. Bye, everybody.
Take care, everybody.